you lead us in the invocation this evening? Okay. And Ms. Rogers, would you lead us in the pledge this evening?
Absolutely.
Okay. Please rise.
Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to meet and conduct the business for the city of Aztec. Please be with these commissioners as they go about doing the job of running the city of Aztec. Be with our leaders nationwide, statewide. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, Carla, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Burbridge?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Sight?
Here.
Commissioner McClure?
Here.
Commissioner Randall?
Here.
All present?
All right, thank you. Next is the agenda approval. If there are any items that need to be pulled from discussion for this evening, now would be the time to do so. Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve this evening's agenda as given.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
move to approve this evening's agenda as given.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, then we'll move into citizen recognition. Mr. Wright?
Mayor, I do not have citizen or employee recognition at this time.
Okay. Then we'll move on to the consent agenda. Items placed on the consent agenda will be voted on with one motion. If any item proposed does not meet the approval of all commissioners, a commissioner may request that the item be heard under items from the consent agenda. Okay, I would entertain a motion.
I do want to pull one.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to have my mic on. I'd like to pull item C,
Okay,
American Towers lease agreement.
all right. Hearing no other items, I would entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, move
Somebody-
to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item C.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item C. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay, items from the consent agenda, item C, American Towers lease agreement. Commissioner McClure?
It's just now it's on and loud. Just point of clarification. I was wondering why we're getting $40,000 from them for a re-signing of a lease. Is this happening every time it's renewed?
No, what it is, Commissioner McClure, is basically a signing bonus based on their desire to extend the lease agreement before the lease has expired. So in our governmental side, it would be the way to prolong their agreement and say, hey, this is why we're invested, without having us go to the end of the agreement and renegotiate with them at that time.
And then I was looking at it, so if I read it right, Mr. Thrower, all of us sitting up here will be dead at the end of this agreement, which is 2071. So this one's not over until 2031, and they want 40 more years.
That's correct.
Okay.
And Commissioner McClure, the best part about it is the CPI increase. As you look at the notes there, the original payment was $700 a month.
Yeah.
And if you think about that, that's phenomenal. That's a great revenue line item. One of the options presented to us by American Tower was to have them go ahead and give us upfront cash and not have to worry about paying monthly. So they proposed giving us $322,000 upfront and never have to pay again. And then they would keep it through 2080, 2081. And to some, that sounds great, but the loss of revenue there is ridiculous. The compounded annually, just last week, Chris Farmer in Finance pointed out that the CPI should have been 2.1 and they paid us 2%, so they had to reissue us a check for $3.48, missing a month's payment worth of $3.48. But when you compound that 0.1 over that next 40 years, it's going to matter. And so that's where the beauty comes in, that it's a great revenue stream long-term for the city. It is.
Because I was like, what are they putting in that tank that they're paying us $40,000 for? All right, just clarification. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. I would entertain a motion.
No, I'm not going to.
You're not going to?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to approve off the consent item number C, the American Tower lease agreement move to approve the second amendment to the lease agreement between the City of Aztec and GTP Acquisition Partners. The second? Is that how you would read that?
That's good. Second.
Okay, we have a motion, and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay, next is citizens' input. If there's anyone here who would like to address the commission about any item not on this evening's agenda, you may have up to 3 minutes to do so. Thank you. Mr. Petty John, you may take the podium.
May I give each of you a handout?
Okay.
This is part of my 3 minutes.
I'll wait till you start talking.
Thank you.
We'll flip the egg timer again.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for your time. My name is Zach Pettyjohn. I live at 507 Lovers Lane. I also own the home at 501 Lovers Lane. I have rebuilt both of those homes. I teach at Aztec High School. I've taught there. This is my 20th year. In 3 weeks, I will have finished 20 years, and I'm still alive, walking on my own accord. As of right now, we have 99 days till the first day of school.
Who's counting?
I am. I'd like to speak to you about the culvert that was put in at Lovers Lane. After the Great Flood, we had some issues with the culvert. It was found that we need to put a new culvert in. There were flyers sent out in our neighborhood to attend a meeting. Myself, 2 other neighbors attended the meeting. Tori and Julie Bisbee attended the meeting as well. It was not here. It was at the building down Oliver Street and off to the side. And at that meeting, I proposed an idea that we fix a little bit of the runoff of the road. Even before this new culvert came in, we had a little bit of trouble. When you're looking at this front page, ladies and gentlemen, the right side is south, and the left side where you see the hair warehouse is on the left, that is the north side. And we had a little bit of trouble. The south side of the street is significantly higher than the north side of the street. And I thought to myself, this is a great opportunity, but they're going to tear all this out. We can try to mitigate this. And I attended the meeting. There was an overhead just like this. I pointed out exactly where I lived and where the problem might be. And I proposed an idea to fix some of that trouble. Because what happens is the rainwater from or people's ditch water from the south side runs over, and it floods my yard. It floods the new house I bought and rebuilt, 501, the house in between, and Miss Bisbee's house. And it just doesn't seem like the correct thing to happen. After the ditch was completed, the short of it is it's worse. The prior culvert was subgrade, which means it was below street level, and they were able to mound up the asphalt in the center, so there should be like a couple of % grade on each side of a street so that the water on this side stays over here and the water over here stays over here. This concrete at grade level does just the opposite of that, and it's at the perfect angle to where it comes straight into Miss Bisbee's front yard and my front yard, as well as 501 and 505. I had mentioned and spoke with Mr. Ray quite a few times about this. I do appreciate this. They rented a piece of machinery or purchased it, and they ground down on the south side of the street to try to lower that side just a little bit, even over the culvert that was freshly poured. And essentially what this did is it makes it to where the water doesn't run in front of my neighbor's yard. It hits my house right where the driveway is. So it's just moved it down the street just a little bit. Instead of just complaining, I would like to give you some ideas at the back of this packet. So this packet contains 4 or 5 photographs that I've taken over time. The second page is the last little snowstorm we had, and as soon as the sun came out and it started to melt that, you can see that water running directly to the north side of the street. The third page is from my side of the street, which is on the north side, looking to the south. At the bottom, so that's this one, third page, There's a lot of water at the bottom of the page. That's at my feet and my property line. At the far end, the water's just starting to run down on the south side of the street. It's virtually dry. Okay? As someone that's invested hundreds of thousands of dollars, countless hours in rebuilding these two completely awful homes, this isn't something that I can accept. The fourth page is landscape. Those are stains, and it kind of shows it very nicely that it runs from the left side. You can see the cattle guards there. I'm not sure why we have cattle guards. In the city of Aztec, everything else looks pretty classy. It runs from the left side of the page, and it directly comes over to the right. The fifth page is then again looking toward the east, and it just shows water runoff. But what I would like to present are some solutions. I teach art. I'm not an engineer. Although I'm pretty handy with things. You can go by and look at each of the houses I rebuilt. Have to say I did a pretty nice job. The first would be these safety yellow speed bumps, and it can be anything. I just went to the Google. And these can be put in any form or fashion. A speed bump would be a great thing. Just tonight, before I came down, people are racing up and down the street. I'm not here about speed limits, but a speed bump could divert, if put at an angle and not perpendicular to the road, it could divert some of that water. All I'm asking is that the water on the south side of the street stays on the south side, the water on the north side stays on the north side. Okay, it's sort of like a turf war. So these can be placed in many different fashions. I saw one image where they had 5 or 6 of these kind of in succession, all parallel to one another, but at an angle. So any water that went past the first one would then be caught by the second, the third, the fourth. And these could be, if they were at an angle, they wouldn't stick so much out into traffic. They would be, trust me, people don't get too close to those cattle guards. So we have a little bit of room there. We could put just an asphalt speed bump parallel to the road on the edge that would hold that water over where it's supposed to remain. Or we could put one all the way across at an angle. Now, as far as how that works, this is just my idea. I didn't want to just complain. I wanted to have some ideas. And then the last page was something I thought that looked pretty classy. Aztec's been doing a lot of classy things lately. I really enjoy driving up and down the street and seeing everything looking very nice. This is a water basin, and this could be used just about anywhere. And this water basin, not real sure what the volume is that it holds, but it could grow kind of like we have that catch at the new construction at Kugler Middle School. And there's some trees that are growing in there. In a few years, it's going to look very nice. This could be another option. This also narrows the street a little bit, which psychologically has people slow down. I know we did that on Main Street, and it's pretty nice. So those are some of my solutions. I would very much like to see something happen. Everyone on our side of the street has sandbags out. Thank you for those, by the way, Mr. Ray. We all have sandbags out, but that's not any way to live. Every time it rains today, how fortuitous, right? Every time it rains, I'm like, oh man, what's it doing over there? What's going on? How's it look? And that's not the way it should work. So I would like to ask that this is my first step in whatever I need to do to make this happen. As I said, I have a lot of money invested in these homes. And so if there's something that someone could do with these solutions, someone that's maybe trained in that aspect, I would appreciate that very much. I'm fairly disappointed in the fact that it was completely rebuilt and it's worse after it started. It didn't seem like it was engineered very well, but I'm just an art teacher and a part-time construction guy. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, that moves us then into business items. Business item A, process for appointing a city commissioner. Okay. So I guess I'll start off. So Carla and I did sit down and we tried to look at a calendar and start putting some preliminary dates together to kind of get this started, based a little bit on what little discussion we had at our last meeting. And so in the staff summary, you'll see that we're talking about beginning immediately, accepting letters of intent and resumes, and that would be open until 6 p.m. on Wednesday, May 24th. So that gives us, I have to look at the calendar, I think a little over 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah, just over 2 weeks, or right at 2 weeks. And then that would give her then Thursday to be able to confirm that everyone who submitted letters of intent and resumes are actually eligible and a qualified elector for the position. After that, then she would prepare packets, get it out to the city commission. And so this would be right before Memorial Day weekend. Okay? And so then that gives us that week to look at those, that next week, and we would have our recommendations for the candidates we would like to interview, because we do have the option to narrow it down. So if we get 15 people who submit, we can narrow that down, but it can't be less than 3 per our policies. Okay?
What if it is?
What is?
What if it's less than 3?
Then we interview everybody who applies,
Okay.
so long as they're a qualified
Oh, I see
elector.
what you're
If
saying.
it's less than 3 that apply, then we just
We don't have to
interview
interview
those
all
1 or
15
2.
is what you say. We can narrow
Right,
it
we
down.
don't have to do all
Okay.
15, though. We can narrow it down to
Okay.
no less than 3. Does that
Gotcha.
help?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am, thank you.
Makes sense.
Okay. And so then, at that time, then she'll start, so we can't really schedule dates beyond that because it'll depend on the availability of those candidates for interviews.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but they
Yes.
work on our schedule, right?
Huh?
They work on our schedule because we're.
The bomb.
And then those interviews would be scheduled as a special meeting, so it would be outside of a regular commission meeting. That would just be too much.
Oh.
Yeah. And then again, so we'll determine that date later.
So those are open.
Yes, open to the public.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, aren't we open to the public all the time?
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I just it'd be weird coming to interview, then there's a bunch of people. That's cool.
That's how we did it before, yeah. And so when we get to that point, when we're ready to start narrowing down for interviews, we will also work with Carla about developing a slate of questions. And so we are the questioning panel. Does that make sense? And so then, yeah, what we did last time is we had the sitting commissioners here, we had the candidates here, and then anybody who wanted to attend.
That's intimidating.
Any less so than a candidate forum, though?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
So do you do it once and have all the interviews like on that at that one special meeting?
that's what we did
Then-
previously.
well, that
I mean, I don't
makes
think there's
sense.
anything that says we have to, but,
Maybe have 3 separate special meetings.
right, doesn't make sense. No.
So they'd have
We
to
don't even
watch-
do city
They
managers
can watch
that
the
way.
person interview before, and then they interview, and then you can see the person. That's cool.
Well, I
That's interesting.
suppose, unless we kept them in a closed,
No.
the safe room.
Oh, like the dating game.
A soundproof booth.
Soundproof room.
And they would like draw to see
Soundproof
first, I
panel.
guess. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
or
Is
we
there
can
any?
determine whatever.
Yeah.
How about that?
Okay.
Or whatever panel, Madam Mayor, whatever questions we come up with, you ask each
The
person the
same
same question of
questions,
each
yeah.
candidate.
Okay.
Okay. So what we have before us tonight is just, we just need to approve or amend however we want, what we want those dates and timelines to look like, at least up to this point, as laid out. So like I said, that gives us, and I just, sorry,
Lost your.
yeah, I hit the screen and it went away. So that gives us 2 weeks of it being open for people to get their letters of intent and resumes in. That gives Carla 1 day, but she felt comfortable she could do that to confirm that they're qualified electors. And then that gives us that Memorial Day weekend and the next week to have those to Carla. And then the following week, she would start scheduling interviews, see when their availabilities were.
I think it's a good timeline.
So we wouldn't start interviewing until after the 1st of June?
Correct. Yeah, she
We
would
would just
call
give our,
that week.
we would just give our
Give her
recommendations?
recommendations. Yeah, she would call to make sure, to see when everyone was available then.
Okay,
The
okay.
week of the.
Because I'll be out of town the 28th through the 31st of May.
Of May.
Well,
Okay.
I'm fixing to be out of
Are
town too, but.
you going to
it's-
be, is that going to be?
But the first week of June, I'll be,
But is that going to give you enough time to review those applications?
yeah, I mean, I could, because the 25th,
you'll-
I could take them, if we have them on the 25th,
Right.
I can take them with me.
Okay.
I mean, I'll have the 20, yeah, I can take them with me.
If you're comfortable with that, and then so that you have your recommendations for interviews to Carla
By the
the
1st.
first.
Yep, I can do that.
Okay. All right, then we need a motion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I move to approve the process for appointing a city commissioner.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we need a roll call on this one, Carla? Should we, just to be safe? Okay.
Mayor Burton,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Sides,
Aye.
Commissioner Randall?
Aye.
Commissioner Clerk?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you. All right, business item B is amendment to the fiscal year 17 plan of work. So this item, per our recently revised commission policies, we stated that at the very beginning, the first step of performing the city manager's annual evaluation is that we would look at the plan of work and then go through each item and determine which ones need to be pulled off because they weren't achievable due to circumstances outside of the city manager's control. Okay? Now, this year, I hate to say it's a transition year, I don't know what else to call it. We tried using the capital projects list last year for Section C, and we all decided we didn't like that. So then, about August, September, we started putting together a draft plan of work. We have a couple of issues. We never formally adopted it. Okay. Yeah.
I
So,
think that was Carlos' fault.
Nothing like throwing Carlos.
so,
Just kidding.
So what we have before us, and this is what we have to determine, what's included here is, and I thought there was far more on it than this, but the fiscal year 2017 plan of work, as we put together back in September, which has very little in it. We have the annual plan of work for fiscal year 2018 that we've started putting together.
That was confusing,
which-
because they're both on here.
Yeah, I know. And then we have the capital improvements list. Now, here's my concern. Because we didn't formally adopt the fiscal year 17 plan of work, now we have a situation that the city manager doesn't know what that section of his evaluation is until it's time to evaluate him. Do you know what I mean? That makes it very tough for an employee to achieve when you don't know until the very end what you're going to be evaluated on. And I'm just talking about fairness across the board, that's a very awkward situation. Thoughts?
We had the original one, and then we tweaked it.
The original?
Well, we had the original plan of work that we wanted to accomplish within the next year. Didn't we do that in August?
That's the 2017, the
Right.
first one.
And
And so
so,
even though it's very light compared to what we normally have, again, because we didn't formally adopt it, it has the same issue. Does that make sense?
so are we just foregoing it this year? I mean, that doesn't make sense either.
We have to decide what we're.
If it wasn't formally adopted, I doubt that our city manager said, well, I don't have to do it because they didn't formally adopt it.
I look at that list, 6 out of 7's complete. I think that's a pretty good average. I think we should go with it. I like my odds in that one.
I mean, we knew it was going to be light this year.
Right.
And what, because,
we were planning it, we were putting it together after the fact. Right. Last year, we didn't put it together during budgeting time.
Right.
Because we were going to use capital projects.
and we wanted to make sure it was fair to make things that were achievable within 1 year.
Right.
But I don't think we should just throw it aside because we didn't formally adopt it.
Well, and that's why we need to have the discussion, though.
Okay.
So if that's the case, I guess the first question, and I realize this is awkward, and this is not how we should normally be handling this, is that something, obviously you've already said you're okay with that,
Not awkward to me, Mayor.
not awkward?
I don't even
Okay.
think they need approved every year. I mean, we did talk about it. I understand the approval process, but even if the number would have been 1 out of 7 complete, I still think it's fair
Gotcha.
to utilize that.
At
tool.
least this one you had notice back in September. This is what we were looking at.
Didn't matter.
Right?
There's 6
Didn't
out of
matter.
7. Let's just get that
So,
clear.
How many out of 7?
6 out of 7. Just that North Main's not going to be constructed in time, so.
well, and I guess that is the question we need to look at this. So the first, yeah, so since there's only 7 items, let's go through them. North Main Phase 1, bid and construction of Phase 1, which includes plaza area, bus stop, and street median, street/median adjacent and in front of plaza. So that was supposed to go bid and construction.
Right, so it'll be incomplete.
Gotcha. Airport apron,
Will be completed.
gotcha. Yeah, that's mostly done. And so my question is, things that would have been Because the purpose of reviewing it before we start the manager's evaluation is to remove items that he could not have completed.
So that's one of them that needs to be removed.
Well, except for when we talked about it, we were assured it would be completed.
Yeah, this one.
We had the money for it.
So the question then becomes, is it been something that's been held up because of DOT? Is it been held up by outside?
No, I think that one
entity.
stays, and that's something that.
legitimate,
That's
okay.
legitimate.
Okay,
No concerns.
okay, so utility rate study, that's going to be done.
Well, the rate study's complete. The rate
Right.
structure is not completed, but the rate study's complete.
So that's part of it completed then? No, yes?
No, I
Well,
think it's completed.
It's completed.
The rate
We
study's
just have
done.
to come
We
up
just
with
now
a
have to set
solution.
that structure.
Gotcha. Okay. The hub, complete upgrading the facility, finalize operation plan,
Those two are completed.
and open for service and operational, that's completed.
Those are completed.
Annual audit completed, and then town hall meetings. Have we had our second?
Yeah, we haven't had an informal town hall meeting, but we've had just like our rate studies or town hall, but we'll have another one here in June as well, which will be an open town hall meeting as we
Gotcha.
discussed. so.
Okay. All right, if that's the case and everyone's comfortable from the commission perspective, we'll go with that. Obviously, knowing that you'll see the next document in your agenda has far more things on it for 2018, and we'll be continuing to refine that during the budget process.
I'm wondering why we left out, did we not decide not to fill in goal number 6, 7, and 8? Environmentally sensible, or was that, because it is mentioned in the other one about, you
Right.
know,
Well, and we didn't, when we started doing the fiscal year 18 kind of work. here
That's when we-
recently,
that's when we honed it down.
had the discussion about,
okay.
yeah,
So we opted to leave 6, 7, and 8
or we just
empty?
didn't come up with items that fit them.
And 5. That shouldn't happen again.
Well, it shouldn't happen the way this has happened.
Right, okay.
Okay,
Because we did talk about them for the next one, which we did in January.
right. Okay,
I think part of that was, Madam Mayor, I think part of that also was just because we're trying to complete big projects rather than starting
the new smaller
new,
ones.
smaller stuff. So I think that was part of the reasoning, if I remember right.
I can't remember all the way back to September.
I know.
Okay, so you
Okay.
need
A
other
motion
questions,
No, ma'am.
discussion?
Oh, well, yeah. I think we should go ahead and say now whether, as city manager just said, it doesn't have to go through the approval, but should we,
I feel like it needs to.
so do
That's
we
always
make
been
that
my-
decision now, or does that come up at the next commission meeting that in the future, when we come up with these, that it has to go through the formal approval process?
I guess, it's in our policy, though, that we will establish and adopt.
We just didn't.
And adopt?
Yes.
Oh, it is.
Well, I'd have to look it up to see the
Okay.
exact wording, but it's in our policy that we will do this.
So it's our fault, because we
Yes.
weren't paying, okay.
Yes. And like I said, that, we got messed up because we, again, tried using the capital projects piece as that instead of developing a
Okay.
separate set of goals, or not goals, but projects. Okay. All right, if there's no further questions or discussion, then I would entertain a motion.
Do we still need to do as amended on the motion?
Only if we're amending it.
But we're not.
But we're
right?
not,
So,
so.
okay. Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I move to approve the FY 2017 annual performance plan.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay. As soon as I can get that.
So now we just we need to just
That's
look
the
at,
part we'll use as section
right,
C.
right, the 2017 one and this one, just the 2017 one.
Just the 2017.
Right. So we just need to continue to look at this and see if we want the 2018, the FY, yeah, FY
We should be
2018,
adopting that along with the budget.
The budget.
when the budget comes. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
Yes,
Okay, just wanted to make sure I was clear on that.
gotcha.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, then now we'll move into city manager, commissioner, and attorney reports. Mr. Wright.
Thanks, Mayor. Few updates from the weekend, and we'll have more follow-up and presentation from each group at a later date, hopefully in June or in July. The airport Wings and Wheels event was a huge success for 3 days, well over 2,000 people, tons of cars, planes, people coming in. Wallace did a fuel count for the fuel we sold. The snack machines sold out. The vendors did a good job. So I think overall it was a very positive event. The pub hosted their Cinco de Mayo event. Had a good band out there. Had easily over 200 people. I don't think we had any issues. There's Chief. No issues there. We did this as a test run, and so yesterday, Chief and I ended up getting to our workshop a few minutes late because we waited at the pub. We had a scheduled meeting to meet with the neighborhood. If anyone had any complaints, to meet us at 5 o'clock at the pub, and it's pretty much me and this guy met for about 30 minutes waiting for people to show up. So
That's good.
the good thing is Mr. Bannery was here for the workshop, and then he talked to us in the corner about his conversation with others, and no one had any issues. So I think the property owner, the business owners did a really good job. I believe that the patrons did a really good job, and I know that the police presence was phenomenal, so that's excellent in terms of that event. And then Atos had the Alien Run this weekend, and I think Wallace said they had a record high of 144 or 142 riders, so 141 riders, and that's incredible. So having all these events synchronized in one weekend and activity here in the community is excellent. It's that type of synergy that keeps people in and around the community. I think that's phenomenal. That results in more sales at McDonald's, more rooms at Microtel, more rooms at Step Back and at Enchantment, dollars being spent at the hardware store, fuel sales. I think there was even a race out at the racetrack we said this weekend. So tons of activity in the community if you wanted to find something to do. And if not, you can stay home and enjoy being home and listen to everything else happening. So overall, I think those events were great, and hopefully we'll see more of that throughout the summer.
They had, yeah,
Yeah,
baseball.
well, baseball and softball on the weekend. So
Yeah.
lots of things going on at this time of year, and with the weather looking good, we just hope that it stays more active. We do have two things to schedule. I mentioned this last night, the utility workshop. We need to schedule that for potentially, we can do that at a budget review. We can do that next week. We can sit down and start talking about some flexibility. I think the sooner the better in terms of what we want to see, so we're not presenting, staff's not working on a rate structure that's going to be different than what commission wants to see. I think we had plenty of comments last night. I don't know if we've had a lot of comments outside of last night, but I would like to go ahead and work towards that as something we can look at moving forward. And then the second part of that is, tonight before you leave, I need to go add one page to your books, but we're going to give you your budget book. So if we could meet next week and go ahead and schedule something, I wasn't listing the dates earlier, but if we could schedule a couple of hours to go over maybe the budget, and then if there's another day, we could sit and go over utility rate structure just to get, even if it's just an hour to workshop that, we can start looking at those different
We're
projections and
talking
options.
workshop, not public input session.
Right, yeah, we need to workshop.
We need to actually work.
Yeah, it'll
on
be open,
what's-
but I don't think we
Right.
should have open mic night for either one of those at that time. So we'll go ahead and post the budget tomorrow. It'll be posted at our facilities, and we'll post that information online so people can come through and review copies. Carla will have the copy in her office, one down at the library with Kate and Senior Center. But I want to be able to walk through where we're at there on the budget, and I say a couple hours because we can walk through it in that amount of time, and then that'll give you time from this week to next, if we can meet, to go ahead and do your reading, and we can sit down. But the rate schedule, we could do that fairly quickly. We just need that direction. In theory, we would have liked to have the direction last night,
Yeah,
but there was
so
too
late.
many comments to try and interrupt that, and I think that was good, so we just need to look at dates.
Okay,
So if next week has availability, I mean, in theory,
It won't for me, sorry.
we could use every day next week. I mean, use them all.
no.
Commissioner Seb, could you do FaceTime?
I can try.
If we were doing the rate study is what you're talking about for next week?
Or the budget. Both.
Either or. So next week, next week's our off week, and then the following week's our 23rd, we have a commission meeting. Now, as with our budget, we don't have to approve the budget on the 23rd. We have through the 31st to be able to call special meetings, which is fine. We have plenty of days to meet consecutively to work. I know that may sound scary to some, but we have plenty of time on the calendar. But the sooner we can get together talking about the rates, I mean, today's, if we had that 72-hour window, we could actually, in terms of advertising, we could meet tomorrow. We could
Gotcha.
discuss more, but we just want to sit down and rehash what we went through on the workshop.
I mean, it's.
And I could try to FaceTime. I'm supposed to leave on Friday and be gone that next week. And then Taylor, my granddaughter graduates from Texas Tech on the 20th. And I was planning on being back on the 22nd. But I could try that week of the 15th, I could go to the clubhouse and try to do internet connection. And it's just, it's sketchy down there. But I could try it.
And even a phone call
So,
without having
Right,
the internet
phoning
connection.
in, right.
okay,
Because for the rate structure, we'll be fine with the phone without FaceTime.
Okay.
Because we're going to have dialogue. What we're going to be asking is alternate one, alternate two, alternate three, looking at, in theory, just, hey, here's the electric proposal. Are we good with that? Here's the solar. Are we good with that? Do we want to make amendments to there? And then throwing in some of this cost analysis that we've got outside of their cost of service study. And so we can do that when, on the
just a phone
phone.
call. Okay.
And that was, because I remember that passed, this is before I became a commissioner, that it was added in that if a member is absent,
Right, they
it
can
wasn't
call in.
just with
Right.
video, right? It was video and telephone?
You're right, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, and that allows us for the quorum,
Right.
but more importantly, it allows you to be involved in that discussion so we get,
Discussion.
Yeah.
I mean,
So if we're looking at next week, I have something Tuesday evening. Beyond that, I'm assuming we're looking at evenings. Beyond that, I'm free in the evenings.
well, we've proven we can work up until 11 o'clock at night, so
Oh, God, no.
I'm good to 12. We can handle this.
I'm sleeping by 10. I have, I have something next Tuesday too, but it could be changed, Chief. It could be orange juice with the chief in the morning instead of coffee with the chief in the evening. No, I don't, Mayor can't make it Tuesday anyway.
So,
I'm good.
Monday and Wednesday are both good days. I don't know how Monday works out in terms of
Monday or Wednesday is fine with me, Thursday not so good.
Monday's Tina's birthday, so we can invite her and have some cake. That'd be kind of cool.
A lot of Geminis in this city.
So Monday, do we want to do the short one on Monday? Do we want to say, look at utility? I think utility rate discussion is going to be shorter than
so you're
walking through the
looking at two
budget.
different dates?
I can do
Is that what
both
you're
at the
looking
same.
for?
If you want us to, if we start with one, we can advertise for
But we're
both.
looking at a couple hours for budget, right? Isn't that what you said earlier?
I say that, but in all honesty,
I'd rather schedule two and.
well, no,
not
I'm going
use
to
them.
schedule more
Okay.
hours.
Right.
I'm just saying, in actual time, if you have the time this week to read through it, I mean, it's not that hefty. It's not something that's going to overwhelm you in reading material. So if you can look through that, and then we get to there, we're only going to highlight the points, and then we'll have questions. It's really
I'm going to ask that we don't do budget Monday.
okay.
Why don't we do,
Because
yeah,
I have to go to Santa Fe this weekend for municipal league
Okay.
meeting.
Do you want to say come back on Wednesday, and we can
I
schedule
mean, if we want to
Monday?
do the rate on Monday, that's okay.
Right, utility rate Monday.
Because I don't have a volume of documents I've got to read through. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah, we could do utility rate Monday at 5:30 if that works. Is that good?
Sure.
Monday 5:30
I
utility.
appreciate you guys being okay with evenings. Sorry, it's just me.
No,
It's great. And then Wednesday, you gonna go the same time, 5:30? And we'll schedule that for 2 hours for the budget? I mean, I'll probably set Monday the same, a 2-hour time.
Monday the 15th.
Monday the 15th, 5:30 to 7:30. Wednesday the 17th, same thing, 5:30 to
so
7:30.
Monday's going to be the utility rate.
Yes, ma'am.
7:30 to 7:30.
And we'll schedule that, and we'll bring the phone over here for Commissioner Sipe, and we'll work on that and see if it works.
Monday and Wednesday.
And that's perfect, Mayor. That'll get us where we need to be, and that'll keep us moving along.
And then you said the 17th?
Yes, ma'am.
5:30 and 7:30 also. Okay.
On that one, I can, if I have questions on the budget, should I just call it in?
Oh, that's right,
or-
'cause you're out of town.
Well, I think even if you're looking through there and you email some, and then it's easier, that way when we get there, I could go over the email question and then articulate that out, and then you can listen and clarify if we have any questions there.
Okay. So you're saying that one till 7, because I'm just thinking 2 days of being on the phone for 2 hours.
You're going to love it. I don't think we're going to be on the phone that long for the first one, and honestly, from our past, I don't think we'll be on there that long, but I just want to set that out for the time limit so that we know where we're at.
All right. Anything else?
That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. I have no report this evening. Mayor Pro Tem?
Okay, I think I got those in there. Sorry. Okay, first thing I'd just like to say, thank you to Josh and Chief and Stephen and the Pascals and the residents around there for meeting after the grand opening of 550 Brewing and the problems that we had. I really appreciate you guys all getting together and working it out, and Mr. Bannery did say last night that it was so much better on the Cinco de Mayo. So I just really appreciate you guys all working together to get that worked out. So just wanted to throw that out there. And also, just wanted to let everybody know our Aztec High School Tiger baseball team, we're district champs for the first time in almost 20 years. So we did struggle in the playoffs. Unfortunately, we won our first game by quite a bit, but Saturday something happened and I don't know, we lost. So anyway, but it was good that they're district champs again. That was great. And our Aztec High School Tigers softball team is district champs for the third year in a row, and they're headed to state. I believe tomorrow their first game is Friday, because they were seeded number 1 in the state. Our softball team is seeded number 1 in the state. So anyway, just want to wish them good luck and just pass that along that our school sports are doing good. And I know track is going into their final stuff, but I'm not
This
sure.
weekend.
It's the state this weekend for them too. So anyway, that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Randall?
No fishing report this week. Wasn't able to get out there. They did stock it this last week though. But other than that, I think last night's meeting was a good thing. I mean, it was great to have the turnout that we had, and
Yes.
good to hear from the public, and I think we have good comments to move forward with. So just wanted to say that, and that is all. Thanks.
Commissioner report?
Believe it or not, I have nothing.
Mr. Thrower?
I'll be out of town from the 18th through the 29th on vacation. I'll miss the next commission meeting, but I will be available by phone.
Okay. We have
I'll be
something.
in South Dakota.
Okay. Thank you. All right, then we'll move into department reports.
Okay. I have a couple of things. One is a thank you to the City Electric Department for getting us back up by Monday morning. I know they worked all through the weekend for the power in that whole sector. I happen to live in that sector and work in that sector of town, and I know how hard those guys worked and how dedicated they were to their customers, to getting the people back up as soon as possible. And then I've got lots of fun things happening. Well, one is kind of bittersweet. We have a retirement in the library. Our assistant director has served for 27 years now, I think. I think it's just on 27 years this
27.
week, or next week, actually, is her anniversary date. But she's retiring at the end of May. And dang grandchildren take up too much of people's time and steal them from us. But we have organized, amongst other things, an open house in the library, or we're hoping to organize, on the 31st of May, which will be Karen's last work day. We're going to have an open house all day in the library from 9 to 6, so that people in the community and everyone in the community is invited to come and greet her. You can imagine that after 27 years, you know a lot about the community as a librarian, and you have a lot of bonds in the community. So it's just one small thing I think that we can do as a city, is have an open house in the place of her work. I have made little bookmarks to give you guys, because I know there's lots of other stuff happening. So it's a kind of save this date. Then the other fun things that are happening is, of course, summer reading. We've got summer reading out already. We are out in the schools already, but that will start on the 30th of May. We'll start signing up after the holiday weekend. And if anybody is traveling, okay, you know, if you're going to Texas, it doesn't help, but anybody traveling in New Mexico, we still have one of the best deals in the state, which is you could check out a pass to any of New Mexico's state cultural or historical sites. Not the national ones and not the privately funded, but there are at least 15 of them. It's a family pass, so at least 6 people can go in on a pass. I don't know who decided in the state in Santa Fe that 6 equals family, but they had to make a limit somewhere, and so they decided 6. So, yeah, we've had a lot of fun debates about who decides what size my family. That decision was not made by us in the library. But we have them. They check out just like a book, and they check back in again when you come back. So that's another fun thing to look forward to. Then we will also be introducing new summer programs in the library, one of which I think a lot of people have shown a lot of interest, which is we will be offering 3 days a week free yoga classes at the library, led by a certified Yoga Alliance certified teacher. So to offer that in the community free is something that we're quite excited. And the community seems excited from the survey about a positive thing. To get people excited about something positive that isn't going to cost them anything, I think was very rewarding. In fact, we took the survey down because we were getting so many responses. I basically had a survey up to try and find what times of day and days of the week and what experience levels we had in the community. I thought we might get 7 responses. But I think Ed and I took the survey down because it was like, okay, I get it, you want it. Now we'll build it, you better come. But, so I'm going to give you that, and that's about all you got from your library today. Oh yes, if you did get a link from us, fill out our community needs survey to work out how we can serve you even better. So that's on the website. I sent out the link in the email. I'm just going to come up and give you each one of these to remind you.
Thank you, ma'am.
You'll get an email.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for all you do. I hope you all can find time to, if you're in town on May 31st, to just come by and greet Karen. You'll be back in town by then. And it's a Wednesday. Right? we always see this on a Wednesday. Cool. Let's give you a family pass blurb as well, just in case you're going. They are fascinating. There's one on an exhibition opening on Sunday on the hippies in New Mexico.
Oh, hello, I'm there.
See, I thought we would get something.
Aztec's like the hell, bro.
And there's one on the lowriders, and one in New Mexico.
I saw a thing on the lowriders the other night.
Do we get special
It's actually
classes
I
to
the
read
county
this?
culture.
was going to say, yeah, it's like,
Awesome.
Conservation.
okay. Since there are no other department reports, then I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
All right, thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. See, it didn't take near as long. That's right.